Okay, it is 7 o'clock, and I'd like to call to order the Tewksbury Finance Committee meeting for Monday, February 7th, 2022, in case anybody forgot the year. Continue our budget reviews. I see Chief Columbus is here, yes. Excellent, so we'll start with the police budget.
Okay, very good. Everyone hear me? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Nice to see everybody. I thought I'd get you guys in person this time, though.
Yeah, maybe next time.
Yeah.
Rob, did you want to pull up the budget?
Oh, sorry, yeah, I'll share like last time. Let's see, where are we? Screen two. Just hit share. Oh.
I think it better be live next time or we're all going to lose our minds.
Well, it's good to see everybody anyways. I just wanted to start off with the three areas in the budget and some of the increases. First of all, salary went up $259,000 due to contractual obligations, cost of living raises, and step increases. Our operating costs went up $61,957. Some of our operating costs there, our policy management is one of them. Some of the maintenance contracts that we had for some of our street signs that we had purchased, a need to purchase additional computers, increase some of our training budget and our range budget. And then in our capital outlay, we increased about $26,000. One of the bigger pieces there is we have to do the 5-year replacement on our firearms. It's actually more cost effective to turn the firearms in and get new firearms than it is to purchase the parts, have them replaced, and then the cost of the labor, et cetera. So to turn them in, get the return on those firearms and purchase new ones is more cost effective. And then we added a 5th cruiser to keep up with our fleet. We've been buying 4 cruisers for as long as I can remember. We've gone from 19 cruisers in total from 2010 to 44 cruisers now. A lot of those, what we do is we have the marked units, and then we break them down after. We keep them, we put them in administrative positions, we make them unmarked, but we're getting the most that we can out of those cruisers. But we felt as though to keep up with our current fleet, we wanted to make sure that we go from 4 to 5. Happy to take any questions.
Okay, let me open it up for questions. Rich, you want to start us off?
Sure. Hi, Chief. Thank you for your narrative. It was very useful for breaking this down, by the way. Thank you. I have a question around 3G and 5G. With 3G going away, does this impact your communications ability in any way?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, that was the only question I had. Oh, and firearms. Just for my own edification, when we turn a weapon in, what happens to it?
The company gets them, and then they can resell them. So they actually end up making money off of them as a resale value.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's all you have, Rich? For now? Okay. Dave, would you like to go next?
Sure. Hello, Chief. Good to see you. Just a couple of questions on the, I know it's not in your budget right now, but the 4 additional officers that you're looking at, is there any particular area that you would be trying to utilize them in? Like when I look at you providing those, we seem to be in a pretty good place in some areas. I was actually very much surprised to see overdose go down. I expected actually to see that go up. I saw things like shoplifting and suspicious activities go up. I wasn't sure with the 4 additional officers if you were going to try and target specific areas, as in the past we've targeted drugs.
Sure, that's a great question. So we have, like I outlined in the request, that We've increased areas like our SROs, which I know is covered by the school budget. The traffic unit, which was certainly still a clear need for us. We have a lot of traffic, requests for radar, and they do certain projects like, the pedestrian safety crosswalks that we did this year. And we haven't really added to our patrol force since I've been here, which is just about 22 years.
Right.
And you can look at the call volume over the last 10 years. You can see that it's gone up or down, give or take 10,000 calls. We're up this year, but it's hard to really look at last year as a benchmark because of everything that we went through with COVID and people being home. But the one thing that I would leave with you is this: the way that we handle calls today in 2022 is completely different than how we've ever handled calls. And I'm proud of that fact. I'm proud of our officers because they really do care and they put together a tremendous effort. But when it comes to family services, whether it's domestic violence, juvenile issues, elder issues, anything to do with mental health, substance use issues, we really go over and above for people to try to solve their issues, not just show up to a call, put a bandage on it, and leave. And that's how we used to do it. That was the old model. Now we're really trying to solve people's problems, and it's had tremendous success. The problem is, it creates a ton more work for our officers. They're writing, a couple page reports on every call that they go to, with these types of calls. They're calling down clinicians to assist, and it ties people up, ties officers up. And what I would want to target really is simply put an additional officer in each one of our 4 shifts, because our call volume did go up, but it's the way that we handle the calls and how we handle the calls. And the other thing that I will say too, and I know Chief Sheehan dealt with this, you're always fighting against at least 3 to 5 people being out for various reasons, whether it's military deployments, maternity leave, injury, light duty, whatever it may be. And when you're trying to budget the department and you're trying to make sure that your shift has the proper coverages, you're basing it off of that number. For right now, our number is 63, but you're never really at 63. If you have people leave, it can take, a year or longer to get an officer, get them trained, get them in an academy, and have them then counting as staffing. So there's a lot that goes into it. We tried to break down as much as we could. When we're short, that creates the overtime, and you saw those numbers that I gave all of you. The numbers that we were spending in overtime. Now, we're never going to eliminate overtime, but I do think, though, there would be a balance there if we were to hire the 4 officers and we had the $73,000 per officer is what we estimated at this point. And there may be some savings there with the overtime that we'd be saving in the long run.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Next question is on the firearms replacement. Has your armorer picked out the particular model, or are you still in the process of doing that?
So I'm not an expert in firearms. I'll just give you that right away. But we do have an expert here. He was a sniper in the Marine Corps. He's on the SWAT team. He's our training officer right now, Officer Chris LaFave, and he's looking at a different weapon. We certainly might stay with the one that we have, which is the 40 Glock 9mm, but we may go to the SIG. There wouldn't be an additional cost with that. It would be an offset. So he's looking at that. He's doing some demos with a variety of officers and variety of skill levels. And so far the feedback's been great, but either way, the cost will be the same.
Very good. And let's see. Now, I don't think anything is in the budget yet on this particular area, the body cameras.
Right.
That's not in there. I appreciate your write-up on that. I'm just wondering, are there any grants that may be available related to that?
Yes. So there are, and we were looking at a state level grant and a federal grant, and we will continue to look at these because we will try to offset the cost if we can. One of the issues that came up with this, though, was that you had to have an agreement with your unions within 6 months of receiving the funds. So we weren't there yet. We have started talks. That's kind of been delayed. There's some things going on at the state level with the legislation as to how they're being rolled out in certain uses of them. But at the end of the day, I do think that we're all on board that we eventually want to have them. We want to have that transparency. We want to be able to show a critical incident to the public. And unfortunately, we live in a world today where if it's not on video, then the facts are always going to be disputed. So we'd rather have the video and have the system, but there's still a lot of work to be done there. So we put it in there. We know it's something that will be in the future, and we have some things that we have to work out. As I said, with the unions.
Understood. That makes sense. Just a comment. I know in these trying times when things seem topsy-turvy, I feel safe in this community, and that's a testament to you and your department. And I just want to tell you how much I appreciate that and what you do and what your group does. Absolutely fantastic.
I appreciate that. I'm very proud to be a police officer in this community. I'm proud to lead a group of people that first and foremost are good human beings, and they really care about the job. They make my job easy. They want to show up and do right. We do believe in that, we preach that every interaction matters, because you may only have one interaction with the police in your entire life. And if it's a bad one, right, you're going to remember that, right? Everyone remembers being pulled over or having an interaction with the police, right? So we understand that, and we want to make sure, that we're doing our part to make sure you feel safe and that you feel cared for.
Thank you, Chief. Mr. Chairman, that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Dave. Susan, do you have any questions for Chief Columbus?
No, just that his report was very thorough, and I appreciate that. But other than that, I don't have any questions.
All right, thank you.
I see a hand up. I don't know if that's.
Rich, are you trying to ask a question?
Yes, I just wanted to follow up on one or two of Dave's questions on the different weapon. Is it a longer lifespan?
To my knowledge, it isn't. It's the 5 years, and it's not necessarily the weapon, it's the parts in the weapon. But I can get a hard answer for you on that. I'll find out through Officer LaFave if the SIG, if we go with that, if it has a longer lifespan. But to my knowledge, it isn't, but I'll find out for you.
Okay, and the other question is around, where is it? Where's the line item? Oh, yeah, you were speaking to 63 officers. Do you know what the average count a non-COVID year? Is it 55, 56, 57 over a whole shift or a day that we're missing a couple?
So right now we're down 5, and that's the best we've been since I became chief in June 2020. And at one point we were down 10. Various reasons, and we're fortunate right now we don't have any COVID related absences. They're injury related. They're whether it's maternity leave and military leave. So we're in the best position we've been in. We've hired people. We're fortunate that we're able to get some academy trained officers that really want to come here, which is another, it's another, just a feather in the cap for the department, because we have officers that want to come work here. So it's excellent. But I think we're in the best position that we've been in right now, down 5.
Okay, so the additional 4 would certainly help.
No question about it. It would help in a couple of areas. It would help with overtime, first and foremost, but it would also help with the distribution of work. When you have officers that are short-staffed and they're doing all of this work every day, there's a burnout effect. And, then they're staying over on overtime. And you saw those numbers that I'd sent to you that, not only is it the shift overtime, but the overtime that we spend where officers have to stay a couple of hours or 4 hours past their shift because they've had so many reports that they have to follow up because they're short-staffed. I mean, we should have 6 patrol officers right now on every shift, but sometimes we only have 4, and we would like to get to 7. We're with the 63, we can be at the 6 patrol officers. If we go with the 4 additional officers, we'd be at 7 on the 3 shifts other than midnights, and then go to 9 on midnights.
And it's like a domino effect. It's like with the extra work that they're doing to help these citizens of Tewksbury, that just creates extra paperwork. Correct?
That is correct.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. I think we're on to Mr. Cook.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I'm going to defer on my questions.
Okay. And Jason, are you there? I don't see you. All right, if he comes back, I'll check with him but I'll say thanks like the rest of my colleagues here on all the details and the stats that you put into the info that you gave us, Chief. I do love seeing the community policing philosophy and seeing the Tewksbury Police Department in the news for something fun like an ice hockey game against some kids. That was nice to see.
Yeah, that was one of the best nights of my career. I can tell you right now.
It looked like fun.
Playing with those kids and it just kind of opened up a door for some other things. And we're trying to have a few more games, but the weather's not cooperating. But no, I appreciate the feedback. I just think it's so important for us to have these interactions with the community, and we're going to continue to do it. And it's nice to see the officers get those positive interactions with the kids as well. So it's just some really good stuff, some positive stuff happening.
That's really cool. Who won, by the way?
Well, we
The
lost.
community, right?
We lost. We'll say we let them win, but we didn't. No, it was a good group of kids, so it was fun.
Yeah, that's great. I also appreciate the fact that you're going for certification and accreditation. I don't know what the status is on that. I think you gave us, I can't
Yeah,
remember.
no, I'd love to talk about that. So we're proud of this fact. So we've been working really hard since last year. We do have that Lexapol management software. We have an accreditation manager. We meet every single week. We've been working on this, 5 or 6 policies every single day. We're up to about, we have to get to about 158 policies. We're up to about 153. We only have a handful left to go. And then we've issued, I think it's 86 to date. So those are issued and those are in effect right now. All the officers have them. So we're on our way. We got a couple more months of issuing policies because we do about 10 a week. And then what happens is we have to do a procedure manual, which is just a little bit less cumbersome, I should say. Not as many policies with that. And then we'll start working with the Massachusetts Police Accreditation Commission to get certified and get accredited and have these evaluators come in. It's been a tremendous experience for me. It's very eye-opening. This policy manual is going to be one of the best around, so I'm really excited about it. But to get that standing as an accredited police department, I think will be excellent for the community.
Yeah, that's great. That's good to hear. I did have a question on the special overtime, and maybe I missed it somewhere. And
Sure.
It looks like you took. So what's the definition of special overtime? I guess.
Let's see. Where are you?
Did we simply take 200 out of?
Okay,
the
so
labor
that I think
overtime?
it was listed as training, right? Just pulling it up. So it should say training overtime. I'm not sure the one that you have. I just pulled up mine. But if you go to FY23 TM received personnel.
Yeah, the front wasn't changed.
And then,
What
okay,
was
so
that?
it says training overtime there. You see it? Line 139.
Up here. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, Rob, I need to correct that. I didn't change it on the first page.
Okay, yeah, it's fine because I was looking there and I'm like, where is it?
Yeah, that was in there as special, but what we wanted to try to do was break down some of the overtime that we spend on mandatory training for the department.
All right, thank you for clearing that up for me. And maybe Richard, this might be a question for you. The police station, is that their electric? Are they using the town ag rate or supply?
So they're under a different rate. We have a rate with Constellation through MMA that is actually cheaper than our ag rate.
Okay.
So they use that like the other buildings use, and the police department is also part of a net metering, solar net metering credit that we get.
Okay. Thank you. And Chief, you mentioned in one of your documents here about the radio replacement. There was you were looking into grant funding. Will we?
So I just wanted to put that on the radar, but we've been told by the state, I know Mr. Montori is working with the regional dispatch center director as well on this to allocate the funding through the state. We've been told that we will get it because it was one of the things that was part of us moving over to the regional dispatch. So we're pretty confident we'll get it, but I wanted to put it on the radar because it's something that we need. Basically, the vendor that takes care of our radios has said that, it's some of the parts, that we have or we need, we can't get for the system that we have. So we have to upgrade it at some point, and we're hoping that we'll get the grant funding for it.
Okay, so we probably won't add it to the budget until we know. Is that how we're approaching this?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident. Like I said,
That's correct.
we're confident we're going to get the grant funding.
Is this something that could come up in the fall, Richard?
It could, yeah, depending on, we'll know about the grant before the end of the fiscal year. And if we don't get it, the chief and I spoke, and we'll address all of his needs in the fall.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, and one of the items was we needed some money for promotional exams. I didn't know which line item that kind of fell under.
Yeah, so I talked to Mr. Town Manager about this, and we're going to look at that in the fall
Oh, okay.
because we're okay for a while now. We'll be looking at having these exams a year from the spring, so we'll be okay with going after that in the fall.
Yeah, we'll address those at town meeting once we get a good number on what we'll need.
Okay. I think that's all I had. Does anybody have anything else? Did Jason come back? Let's
I
see.
have one more question.
Sure, go ahead, Rich.
I guess maybe this might be directed at the town manager via the police chief. We're talking about replacing computers in some of the cruisers, but those we replace be repurposed somewhere in town?
I think I'd have to ask our IT people in the police IT group, but my guess is no. If they don't have a useful life for the cruisers, I'm guessing we can't use them either, and they're probably different type
Yeah, they are a different type.
pieces of equipment.
They take a beating in the cars. They
Okay.
really do. It's not like a regular PC. It's like a rugged PC, and it kind of opens up. But they when the lifespan is up on those, they're done.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, unless anybody has anything else. Again, thank you, Chief, for all the info that you presented and a thorough budget. Thank you.
Well, I really appreciate it. We can't do what we do without the support of all of you, the town manager, the selectmen, and the community. So we really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right.
Take care.
Bye,
Next
everyone.
time in person.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Good night.
All right. So what do we have next?
Go to the Board of Selectmen.
Sure. Let's see if I can find that. Did it.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So obviously no changes to the salary in the Board of Selectmen's budget. That's for the elected board members and recording secretary. Professional services. This line item takes care of the audit, which is 42.5. Pays for a software called CoStar Economic Development Software, which we use for tracking commercial property in town. Pays for just miscellaneous public notices and consulting services, and it pays for the mailing of the warrant. Legal services has stayed the same. That's for Labor Council. No change in our office supplies for the office. Same with travel. Dues and memberships increased 2.5% for NIMCOG and MMA. Middlesex 3, Greater Lowell Chamber, and the American Society of Composers, which is a license we have to pay in order to have different artists play at any of our events. So there's no copyright issues. It stayed the same at 341. Other than that, the budget is pretty straightforward.
Okay, go around. Rich, any questions?
No, I thought just the town manager was gonna start writing symphonies.
When I retire.
Dave?
No questions, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Susan?
No questions.
Tom?
No questions.
Jason? Doesn't look like he's back. And I have no questions either.
Okay.
Except that maybe you want to change that to select board.
Yeah, when the budget was being put together, we weren't at that point, so I will do that.
Okay.
Go to the town manager.
Sure. Let's see, town manager. Here. I think that's it. Yep.
So the town manager budget, let me just pull it up for myself. The salaries all increased by any step increases in my office, as well as the 2.25% salary increase given to all employees, and bump in longevity for those who have 10 years or longer, increased $100. No other changes within the salaries except those. In regard to going to the operating side, professional services increased because the animal control services that we share with Bill Ricker have increased. There's actually an increase this year, which was higher than I projected, so that's why it seems to be a larger increase than normal under professional services. I bumped up the contract we have to pick up dead deer because we seem to, that seems to be a costly venture every time we call one of the two individuals to pick up dead deer for us. And then miscellaneous professional services really catches any consultants or work we need to do within the town. As you can see in the past, we've spent significant money over the last 2 fiscal years. Last year, money was put into the budget for a consultant to assist the North Intrahan Reuse Committee. So that's why that budget was increased and money spent. We also now pay for out of this budget $7,188 for Archive Social, which is the backup of all of our social media. I meant to add that as a line item in this budget, but I can keep the budget where it is for now and use miscellaneous professional services to pay for it. But in the previous years, that's what we used it for. And over the past couple of years, we've had out of this budget, the assessment center for the police chief was paid for this budget, out of the budget, as well as background checks. Any costs for the RECC when it was being built that were not reimbursable, that was our share. We paid out of this budget. So that's why the last 2 years you see a larger than normal budget than we've had in the past. There's nothing under communications. Office supplies stay the same. Insurance reimbursement is for my contractual reimbursement for life insurance. Travel has stayed the same. Dues and memberships has also stayed the same. And that's really the budget.
Okay, go around. Rich?
I have nothing, thank you.
All right, Dave?
Straightforward, no questions.
Susan?
No questions.
Tom? Tom's not on camera anymore, so I wonder if he had to step away.
Not at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Ah.
Sorry.
Okay, thanks, Tom. Yeah, I have no questions either.
Want to move to town manager unclassified?
Sure. Let's see. Yeah.
Okay. So starting with Shawsheen, this is just a projected increase for FY23 of 6%. I have not heard anything yet from Shawsheen when they want to meet to discuss their budget. We usually meet by now. I've actually emailed the business manager at the school, and I've not had a response yet. I'm sure she's busy. They're in the middle of hiring a superintendent, so there might be some delays there. So this is just a 6% projection for FY23, and I'm sure that will change one way or another. Also for Essex Aggie, I based it on a 6% increase based upon the students we currently have that go there. This year, the budget was higher than what we're budgeting for FY23 because I just projected a higher student enrollment than we actually have. Occupational injury, that has stayed the same. Unemployment, no change. Group health insurance for the town and schools within this budget, we're projecting a 5% increase in our premiums. This budget that we're presenting includes not only the 5% increase in premiums, health insurance premiums, it also includes our MedX premium for retirees, which is projected to increase 5%, dental insurance, which is not projected to see an increase. And we've included in there projected retirees on both the town and school side that will be replaced, because we always need to account for those who are retiring because they do stay on a health insurance, and bringing on someone new who could be going on a health insurance. We never want to be caught short in those instances. And we always try to project individuals who work for the town and school that are currently under the age of 26 that may be on their parents' health insurance. And when they turn 26, we're anticipating them coming on ours. So we always want to make sure we're setting aside enough for that. So this is our best projection at this point for health insurance going into FY23. Property and liability insurance, we're projecting a 10% increase in our property and liability insurance for the town and school. Also included in this premium increase is the new elementary school coming on as a new cost, as well as the center fire station. The 10% premium is a recommended estimate by our insurance carrier at this time. The RECC assessment, which we'll discuss next week with the director of the RECC, is level funded. The reason for that is the state's been, over the past couple of years, has been funding the town's assessment as part of a grant over 3 years. I always budget for this amount because one, you're never assured of getting the grant, and two, once the grant is over, you're going to need to fund this anyway. So we want to have it set aside. And in addition, sometimes there are costs we run into that are not reimbursable by the grant. So we want to make sure we have enough funds set aside, not just for Tewksbury, but also Drake. It does the same in their budget. And that's unclassifieds.
Okay. Rich, you want to kick us off?
Sure. A question around property and liability insurance. So we're, I use the word shuttering two schools, two older schools. And we want to go, and we're projected to go up 10% with a new, due to a newer school.
Mhm.
What would it be if, do we know what it would be if we didn't have the new school in there?
The new school's a little over 100,000, I believe, for the premium.
And what were the premiums for the ones that are closing?
So the insurance carrier couldn't break those out for me. So I didn't reduce the budget because we still may need to carry insurance on those schools of some sort, even though they're vacant. And what we have found out that vacant buildings are as, if not more expensive than occupied buildings.
Oh, okay.
So what the carrier recommended, and we haven't decided at this point, that's why I didn't reduce the insurance budget, was for us to think about maybe not putting property insurance on the schools if we're considering demolishing them.
Yep. That's what I expected you'd be doing. That was it. Thank you.
Okay, Dave?
Just one question, Richard, on Shaw Tech. Do we know what the enrollment numbers are coming up for this year?
I don't have them, Dave, but I'm going to try to find out what they are. Again, usually by this time I have more information, but I haven't received any at this point. So I'll
Okay.
see what I can find out on our end.
That's all I had, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Susan, any questions?
I guess, and if you don't know, that's not a big deal. Has enrollment for Shock Tech gone up in the last few years or down?
I think it went down last year, but I'm not sure about this year.
You're right. Oh, obviously, if you don't know, but I was just
Yep.
curious.
I'll see what I can find out, though. I'll ask that question tomorrow.
All right, thanks.
Okay, Tom?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have two questions on insurance. You mentioned 5% increase.
On the health insurance, I did, yes.
Is that across the board, including MedX?
Yes.
Are there any changes in the MedX on deductibles?
Right now, there's not a plan to change any of the deductibles or copays.
Now, the MedX is for the retired employees, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so there hasn't been any discussion on that at all?
No, and the plan right now is not to add any copays or deductibles, and the 5% increase for MedX would not take effect until January of next year.
Of 23, okay.
Yeah, the MedX plan runs January to December 31st, whereas our health insurance premiums for active employees runs July to June 30th.
From our administrator of our health insurance, have we been given any actuarials at all?
I have not seen any for this year, I haven't seen any actuarial information.
Have you asked for it?
Usually Blue Cross will come in with their recommended rates and they'll have some information in their documents.
Okay, so if you receive ask for it, could we receive that before town meeting?
Sure.
Before at least we have a vote on the unclassified or the insurance anyways.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's all the questions I have on insurance.
Okay, on that
The
same,
personal
line.
liability insurance. Richard,
oh,
Yep.
sorry.
did that go up at all?
Yes, the carrier is projecting, asked me to plan for a 10% increase.
Is that because of any settlements we made in the last 3 years?
No, it sounds like it's an industry issue. from talking to not just our carrier, but other people that have different carriers.
Okay, what was the town's share on the settlements that were settled just recently?
Just our deductible, I believe, of some are $2,500, others are $5,000. But the insurance covered everything.
Okay, thank you for that.
We're a good insurance carrier.
Thank you.
Okay, Rich, do you have another question?
Yes, I just wanted to go back to Shawshing Tech for a second. And that complicated formula that we can never get our hands around. They, last year they used a chunk of money from somewhere in their budget to offset costs, right?
Correct.
And then not this year.
I haven't heard. Again, I usually would have a budget to give you at least an idea of by now, but I have nothing.
Okay, because I think I recall last year saying that them using that taking out that money and using it was a one-time deal.
Absolutely, Rich. And I had that discussion with them also, and they said it would not be. They didn't see it as a one-time deal. They thought they could adjust. The adjustment will be happen again. They wouldn't need to use the reserves again, but they said I shouldn't have to worry about it. And I think I have an email to that effect. If I can find it, I'll send it.
Okay, thank you.
But they're slated to come into the board on March 14th. So hopefully I have a budget, well in advance of that.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, if they can't make it by then, I think we have a couple of open dates that could work as well, but hopefully they can make it by then. Jason, do you have anything for this town manager unclassified budget?
No questions at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. And I just had one on the group insurance, Richard. What'd you say, 5% we calculated bump up?
Correct.
Was that on any guidance or is that just history or?
That was on guidance from our consultant who looks at history and projections.
Gotcha. Okay. That's all I had. Did I miss anybody? I think I got everybody. Okay. What do we have left?
We have community events and we have solid waste. And, Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure I put in anywhere street lights, so maybe we can throw those into next week.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Make a note of that. I got community events up on the screen.
Okay. Okay, so there's no change to community events. They've stayed the same. This budget funds the Harvest Festival that we have in October, holiday lighting in December, Memorial Day Parade, any of our community market items that we spend throughout the year, and the 4th of July fireworks.
Okay, anybody have questions on this? Same as last year, same game plan. On to solid waste.
Yes. So solid waste budget's going up in just two areas. The first is under solid waste collection. It's being adjusted 3%, which is the contractual increase that we have within our budget. So FY23, as in FY22 and 21, it will increase 3%. There's also an adjustment for fuel. There's a calculation for that. So that was adjusted. There's no change in the per ton cost for disposal of recyclables, but there is an increase in the amount of tonnage that we are projecting for the amount of recycling that we'll have in FY23, and that's based on the previous year. And then we fund within this budget the rental of the high school compactor at $460 a month. So that's the solid waste collection budget that we have with Republic Services. Under the solid waste disposal, this is the fee that we paid to Covanter in North Andover. The per ton fee went from will be going from $90 to $93.60 on July 1. We're also increasing the tonnage from 10,400 tons of solid waste being disposed of to 10,008 next year. And that's it.
Okay, let's go around. Rich, questions?
Yes. Do we know how much our tonnage went up between last year and the year before?
Yep.
Everybody
Okay.
was home.
Yeah, I can tell you that. Give me 1 second. So in fiscal 20, the amount of tonnage that we generated was 10,057 tons of trash. In fiscal 21, which was last year, we generated 10,867 tons of trash. And just to give you an idea, pre-pandemic, we generated 9,881 tons of trash.
Okay. So, thank you for that. These, so all our solid waste disposal, that is the place in North Andover that straddles Haverhill, I think. It all gets burned, right?
Yes, it's a waste energy plant. I'm not sure
Okay.
how much energy it actually produces.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, Dave?
Yeah, I was, you kind of answered it, Richard. I was kind of curious what the pandemic had done to the amount of tonnage for, folks like myself who now work remotely. And it sounds like it has had a small but noticeable impact.
Yeah, I'll put it in a spreadsheet over the last few years for the FinCom, and I'll send it off when I send some other things off tomorrow.
Other than that, no questions, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Susan, any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Okay, Tom?
None at this time on solid waste, no.
Okay.
No questions.
No. So the Sutton Brook thing, Richard,
Mhm.
how many more years we gotta pay that?
A long time.
Yeah, all right. I think I ask that every year and
Yeah.
and the next year comes up and I'm like, how many more years?
Yeah. I'll get the exact amount of years I was looking at the other day.
All right.
Infinity minus one.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with that, it's going to be, it's the maintenance of the cap, it's the maintenance of the, operation maintenance of the closed landfill. This year, there were some extra costs because of EPA being involved. And if you remember, we went to town meeting this past year with some new zoning changes we had to make on groundwater regulations in that area. Because EPA wanted us to do that. Well, all the time EPA spent making us do that, they also charged us for their time. So things like that will come up on an ongoing basis.
Okay, I have no other questions. So does that do it for, I think that we got all the budgets for tonight, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, let me stop sharing. How do I do that? Lost my tools. There. You don't have anything else for us?
No, right now the plan is to present to the Board of Selectmen a week from Tuesday on February 15th, the enterprise budgets and the capital improvement plan. And then for the Monday, February 28th, for the DPW, water, sewer, and stormwater enterprise funds to be presented to the Finance Committee.
All right, excellent. Let's see, we got any committee member reports? Elementary school?
We have a meeting this Thursday, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Anything on the Green Committee?
Nothing on the Green Committee.
Okay. Economic Development? Nope. Bylaw? Nope. All right. And no recording, secretary timesheet or meeting minutes. Did everybody see the updated schedule? So we moved a meeting to the, off the top of my head, I think it's the February 28th for the DPW. I believe that's what it was.
Yes.
Everybody get that? So
Yep.
there'll be no meeting on March, I think 23rd or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Anyway, if you didn't see it, check your email. We'll go next week. I forget what we have next. What, the fire and some others?
Fire, yep. Actually, no meeting on the 21st of March. And then next week you have a fire, cable enterprise fund. Yeah, that'll be ready to do next week with the Finance Committee, even before sorry. Yes, you have the cable enterprise fund, telemedia fund next week, and regional communication.
All right, and we added streetlights.
Yep.
And then we have a week off, I think. Yeah, because it's vacation, school vacation, 21st. Okay.
Yep.
And I think after that, I'll schedule them for in person, but we'll have a WebEx option for those that wanna join, not come down to the town hall or whatever.
And I double counted the cable for, did I double count them? Nope. That's it. We'll do cable next week. Just looking at the selectmen. So we should be all set.
Okay. If there's nothing else, I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Dave,
Second.
I think that was Jason. Roll call, Rich,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Susan,
Aye.
Jason,
Aye.
chair votes aye. We are adjourned. See you
Thank
next
you,
week.
everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Thank
Be
you.
Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.